The object of this session is that you will be able to determine the correct amount of units to order, spot the best installation positions, and place the eagle eye units for the best coverage. It is extremely important that you understand the basic principles. Installations must always be seen as a complete system. One unit will not always be able to do the job on its own. The eagle eye unit may also not be the only solution to the problem on hand. The longer the system is in place, the more effective it becomes. This distinguishes the eagle eye from other audio or visual deterrent devices. Birds cannot grow accustomed to the moving flashes of the eagle eye. In contrast to their ears, the eyes are the most sensitive part of their body. Always start at the highest point, even if the target area is not the highest. This is important because birds will land on the highest point before they drop down to the intended target. If possible, avoid areas that are shaded in the morning or afternoon. Although a halogen light can be used as a light source, it will never be as effective as the sun. The eagle eye only works in line of sight. Any obstacle that can block the moving flashes will cause a blind spot where the eagle eye cannot deter birds. Remember that the eagle eye does not work upward but downwards. Birds are only affected by the flashes coming from above. They can happily fly over the eagle eye without being affected by flashes from below. It is only when they come into land and see flashes coming from a higher point that they are affected. Place the units as high as possible above the produce, at least 1 meter above it. For the best results, cover all 4 corners of the orchard or field. If the orchard is on a slope, downhill units will not affect birds higher up. Always start placing the units from the top of the incline. Work your way down to the bottom of the orchard by systematically scattering additional units throughout the orchard. Always place the eagle eye units at least 2 meters from the corners of the orchard. The birds usually enter from the sides and mostly feed along the perimeters. There is always a blind spot on the shadow side where the eagle eye does not flash. Place the units in such a way that they'll cover each other's critical blind spots. In this animation clip you can see how the second and third eagle eye that is brought in covers the shadow spot of the first. If the orchard is flanked by high trees from which the birds could come down, then begin by placing the first units approximately 20 meters from the trees, preferably higher than the trees. For the best results, use the spots where the eagle eye can catch maximum sunlight. Units placed in the shade will not work. Birds are more active early morning after sunrise and late afternoon before sunset. Make sure that the eagle eye catches the maximum sunlight during these times. The eagle eye uses a 12-volt internal electric motor for rotation. When mains power is available, use a 12-volt regulated mains adapter. Solar panels or batteries can also be used. A solar panel and battery combination may be used to power a halogen light for a couple of hours per day. Keep in mind through which hemisphere the sun moves in your part of the world. Install the bulk of the units on the northern side in the northern hemisphere and on the southern side in the southern hemisphere. Placement of the eagle eye in grain and sunflower fields differs from placing in vineyards and orchards. In vineyards and orchards, one unit covers approximately 1 to 3 hectares, but it varies with the height of the produce, the incline of the orchard, the unit's clearance above the produce. On flat areas, 4 units will cover from 1 up to 5 hectares and 6 units can cover up to 18 hectares. The more units installed, the more effective the system becomes. For grain or sunflower fields, In ideal situations, on flat areas, the units must be placed between 200 and 300 meters apart. One unit can cover up to 6 hectares. Start off by placing the units along the perimeters of the field, and thereafter scatter them in the middle of the field. Ensure that all methodologies already operating, such as gas cannons, ultrasonic sound systems, regular shooting, etc., are only phased out once it becomes evident that the majority of the birds have relocated. This could take 2 to 3 weeks. The eagle eye units should then keep them at bay. Ensure that the eagle eye bird scarer is installed vertically upright. It is ineffective if it's skew or angled. It is important that units are placed in the orchards at least 3 weeks prior to the produce ripening. This will allow sufficient time for the birds to modify their habits due to the perception of the danger from the eagle eye units and rather opt to feed in other areas. To recap, the more units installed, the more effective the system becomes. The higher the units are above the produce, the better coverage you'll get. It is unrealistic to expect that the eagle eye system will always get rid of 100% of the problem birds. If placed correctly, up to 80% of the birds will leave the area. We believe that the eagle eye is the most effective open-air bird deterrent system available.